Now, wait a minute, Jack. This is a friendly celebration.
I don't much like the way you celebrate.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon, Paul. How are you doing?
Doing just fine. Just fine.
Good, good. Got some new headsets?
Nope, these I think I had on the boat 10 years ago.
Okay. Good for you.
Frugal. I'm being frugal.
Yeah. What's going on in Green Valley? Anything exciting?
Oh, no, really. Not much at all.
No ice raids?
Nothing down this way. They had a few
I
up in Tucson.
Yeah, I saw they had some in West Tucson, some taco.
Yeah, Taco Hero.
Yeah.
And it got, Adelita Grijalva stuck her big.
Guy that she got pepper sprayed.
Yeah. Well, if that's the only lie she tells this year, that'd be just wonderful.
That'd be a miracle, right?
Yeah. I mean, the acorn doesn't fall far from the tree, right?
Yeah, boy, is that the truth. We got a new congressman in Tennessee sworn in, so we got one more.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be one of those one step at a time things.
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
It'll be interesting to see what the midterms turn out.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a lot of work to do, I think.
Yeah, Mary Margaret and I were talking about that at lunch. That the Democrats just have nothing to offer. I mean, really, literally, they have absolutely nothing to offer.
No.
And the only thing they can do is scream, stop Trump. And I think some of those people are getting tired of that. They're do something positive.
Yeah,
and they don't know
that's
how.
right. Yeah.
So,
well, and then we have I don't know what the percentage is. What do you think? 30% of the stuck on stupids that will never figure it out.
I'm afraid you're right. Well, the thing is, they were taught starting back in 2015 that Trump was the end of the world for them. Trump was just the most horrible thing that could ever happen to America.
Yeah.
And they bought into it, and they still feel that way, even though they've watched the economy go up under Trump, they've watched it go down under Biden, they're watching it come back up. They still think he's the worst thing that ever happened to America. Because
Yeah.
there was a little cartoon one time, many years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago. This little stick figure kid, and he's picking his nose, and he says, "I hate Trump because my TV told me to." You know.
That's them.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's where we are.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And I think DDS is a real thing. I guess some psychologist, some big psychoanalyst, psychologist wrote an article he'd already written in I think it was the Wall Street Journal, but he wrote again in it in the New York Post about TDS and how it's a real thing. He says 3/4 of his patients are afflicted with TDS.
Yeah.
And
It seems to be real because they just can't break loose from it.
yeah, and I think he lives in New York City, so he's treating the worst of the bunch.
Yeah.
The ones that and the other factor is, they have the mainstream media on their side.
Mm-hmm.
So generally, they're going to. I looked at the market yesterday. Today was pretty good, and the and Powell did a small, but at least it was another rate cut yesterday, and the market's in good territory, and it's which affects a lot of people in their 401ks, et cetera. And I understand everybody doesn't have investments in stock, et cetera, but it's just another indicator. And the mainstream media, if you look at the financial news today, it's all negative, right? Those positives are negatives. Yes. So, go figure, right?
Yeah. I was just going to say, Mary Margaret and I were listening to Fox News on the radio she had a doctor's appointment this morning. And Harris Faulkner was talking about the raids in Nigeria where the Muslims are killing the Christians. And she said, killed by radical Muslim terrorists.
Yeah.
And I told Mary Margaret, I'm going to write her and tell her that she's doing this all wrong. Those are not radical Muslim terrorists. They're Muslims.
Yeah.
They are told by their God to go and kill anybody who's not a Muslim.
Yeah.
They're not radical. They're not terrorists. They're just good, honest to goodness Muslims. And that's what we've got in this country is probably 10 million good, honest Muslims that have no goal in life except to kill you and me.
Yeah. And I think Victor David Hanson I don't know if it was in the video I sent out this morning to you guys, but he mentioned it in a video I watched this week where he drew a stark contrast between Christians who are tolerant of most everyone, right? And accept other religions and et cetera, as long as it doesn't, intrude on ours and cause us problems. But the Muslims are totally intolerant. And he said if you've got an earring in your nose and you got pink hair and you're wearing an LGBTQ shirt, says, and you want to go over and help in Gaza, says you're probably going to end up in the end of a rope from hanging from a crane.
Mm-hmm.
And he's right.
Take flying lessons off a tall building.
Yeah, they do that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me let Ken in here. Ken's ringing the bell. Season's greetings, by the way, Paul.
Thank you. To you and Miss Patty also.
Hello, Ken Bennett.
Hi, guys.
Hey,
Season's
Ken.
greetings.
Same to you.
Is it Christmas in Prescott?
Feels like early fall. It's supposed to be like 65 degrees today. I don't get
Oh, oh,
It's
really?
going to
You
be
got
80
warm weather,
here.
huh? Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys are warming up. Yeah,
It's going to be late 70s or early 80s today.
You guys need some
Tucson
snow,
right
huh? You got 2
Yeah.
weeks to get some snow.
Yeah.
2 weeks from today.
It's not forecast, I can tell you that.
Yeah. Let me let Mr. Uch in and see if we got a good connection here coming online. We are recording, by the way, so I will edit anything out that
Did I say incorrectly?
that you don't want to say. Hi, Jeff Uch.
Hey
Jeff.
guys.
Hey, you got the seal look now, buddy.
Yeah, I got the Christmas beard going on.
There you go. You playing Santa Claus this month?
I'm trying. I'm eating as much chocolate as I can. Trying to
Yeah,
order a new Speedo to fit into.
Yeah, join the crowd. I was just eating we buy cake donuts and I put chocolate on them, so I'm bad.
My
So,
hero.
Yeah.
I was
I
going to
think
say,
we all
Jeff,
Go
if you're
ahead,
trying to
Paul.
put on weight, don't buy a bigger Speedo, whatever you do.
So I don't know if
Yeah,
you guys don't know what you guys want to discuss this week. It's good to see you. It's been about 3 weeks since we last talked, and first I want to ask you if everybody's going to make it next Thursday for the Christmas show.
I plan to be here.
Okay, I hope you can make it.
Yeah, I think so.
Good. Okay.
Today, Don, I've got till 4:15, just so everybody knows.
Oh, okay. That's good. That's fine. That gives you
That
good
gives us
amount of
most
time.
of the time. Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
So
and-
a lot of things going on. Anybody got a rant that they'd like to tell the audience about right now, leading off the show?
Well, as an old military guy, I'd like to say that I hope that the military finds the proper amount of evidence to bring Captain Mark Kelly to the mast for a discussion of his treason. That would just be
Good.
my thought.
Yeah, that's good. Anybody else?
I got a lot of rants, but let Ken go.
No,
Go
I've
ahead,
got a
Ken.
good rant. I've got a good rant. I had the opportunity to present to the Cochise County Board of Supervisors last week
Oh.
my 5-point plan on how to bring more transparency and verification to our elections so that citizens can know that the elections were done accurately. And it was very well received by the 3 supervisors in Cochise, who are presently all Republicans. For many years, it's been kind of 2 Republicans and 1 Democrat. And Cochise County was kind of the focal point of some elections the last couple cycles because they were concerned or not sure that things in their county and maybe some others counties here in Arizona had been done correctly. So they had withheld their certification from Cochise County and didn't send it in to the Secretary of State. So they ended up getting sued, both as a county, but also personally, the 2 that voted not to send the certification in. And so it's been a big dilemma down there, but they've shown a lot of courage on trying to make sure that elections have integrity. And I presented my 5-point plan, which I've kind of discussed on this show a couple times. We can go through them. It doesn't take long, but
Yeah.
they seem to really receive the idea of increasing the transparency by providing the ballot images and the cast vote record to make sure that all the votes were added up correctly. And then making sure that the number of ballots equals the number of voters, and making sure that the people who voted were on the list of eligible voters who were allowed to vote. So
There you go.
And,
What a
and how
concept.
was it received, Ken?
it was very well received. In fact, we were told, and we've already had some outreach from their county election director that is appointed and works directly for the Board of Supervisors. Most counties kind of bifurcate, as Arizona law does, County recorders are responsible for voter registration and most of the responsibilities related to mail-in balloting. The county election departments, which in most counties are nested underneath the supervision of the Board of Supervisors, they handle all the ballot design and preparation, the printing of the ballots, and all the conduct of the election on election day as far as the polls and places where people come to vote. So you actually end up with a division of labor, which I think is good. One department has to tell the other department, we need X number of ballots because this many of our voters have signed up to receive their ballot by mail. The other department is focusing on how many ballots do we need to have at polling locations or vote centers or whatever. So they end up kind of checking each other and making sure that everything's getting done, but it's not one group doing everything, so that if they miss something, nobody's looking over their shoulder.
Good.
I think that's fantastic, and I hope Ken, your efforts there get spread to the other counties.
That's our plan.
Yeah.
I tried to get a bill that kind of would have required all counties to do this simultaneously through the legislature 2 years ago. I got it through the Senate. I got it through the House. I even had support from Adrian Fontes, the Democrat Secretary of State. I had some Democrat legislators who had voted for the bill in the legislature, but Governor Hobbs listened to a couple of kind of left-wing voter advocacy groups, Mi Familia Vota and All Voting is Local, that asked her to veto it, and unfortunately she did. So we're now going to go to a county that has shown some courage in pursuing election integrity and transparency. And based on the reaction they gave us last week, we hope that they will be able to implement it in Cochise County. And then that will be an example for the other 14 counties in Arizona to follow.
Well, and from what I remember of your 5 steps, I just think it was really great stuff that I'm hoping other states copy as well.
Yeah.
That we, and that's something that could spread, Ken. So I applaud your efforts there big time. Yeah.
Thank you.
And it really takes somebody with your experience to have been under the hood to be able to get that done. It does.
Yeah.
Because most people
right.
wouldn't have the inside information. So
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'm very optimistic, but we'll see.
Yeah, and I know Ken that, and for the other guy, Shauna Bolick is, she's going to submit her same bill that she almost got through last year for more election integrity. So, which would basically the main point of that bill is that the vote counting will cease on midnight, or the vote acceptance will cease on midnight of election day. So everything has to be in by that date.
Well, yeah, just to clarify there for our listeners.
Clarify it.
Current Arizona law allows voters who received their ballot by mail but didn't send it back to the county early like they're supposed to.
Yeah.
They can just bring it in the sealed envelope on election day and throw it into a box, and the box doesn't even get opened and processed for sometimes a day or two.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can have literally almost 20% of the vote that doesn't get counted on election night. It gets counted over the next week or 10 days.
Right.
And so they're trying to say that if you are going to get your ballot sent to you early, that if you're going to procrastinate and not get it back to the county so that it can be counted on time, if you show up at the polls, you will be asked to show identification, prove who you are and that you're a registered voter, just like everybody else that's voting in person. And you'll actually open your envelope once you've shown your ID, and your ballot will get into the counting of ballots that's occurring on election day, so that all of those ballots are included in the results that are released at 8 or 9 o'clock on election day instead of a week later.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah. And I think that bill got stopped by Republicans, believe it or not. So She's got a little
Now,
work
there's
to
some
do with her own guys.
Yeah, there's some aspects of Sean, and I'm a big fan of Shauna Bullock.
Yeah.
But there's some aspects of her bill. She's mirroring her bill to Alex Culloden over in the House, who's Republican running for Secretary of State. And there's some aspects of the bill that I think can be improved, but overall, making sure that voters who bring their ballot in an envelope instead of it getting into next week's work or not counted for several days.
Yeah.
Show your ID, open it up, and let's get it into the count on election night.
Or get it mailed
That
in
part-
time. Yeah.
That part I completely support.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, Ken, a question about while you have the floor here. I saw something about they're trying to oust the mayor of Prescott.
Prescott, no. Sedona.
Is it Sedona?
Mayor just resigned because he was accused by some of the other council members of doing something inappropriate as far as going around and talking to the department heads just by himself instead of working with the entire council. And so the mayor of Sedona just resigned. But Prescott just elected a new mayor a couple weeks ago.
And that was a regular election?
That was a regular election.
Yeah.
The lady that won the mayor's seat had been on the council, and in fact, her and another council person, so two council persons ran for mayor, and one of them prevailed, and she was sworn in along with three other council members last week. And yeah, I'm not aware of the mayor resigning in Prescott. Yeah.
Does
Sedona, not Prescott.
Yeah. Does Karen Fan live in Prescott?
Yes. Just talk to her on the air on her radio. She does an afternoon 1 hour show on the local talk radio that I do. I do a morning hour. I'm Tuesday mornings at 8 to 9, and she's Wednesday afternoon from 4 to 5. So yeah.
So you called into her.
I called into her yesterday.
Good. Yeah, Karen Fan
to compliment her.
Sure.
That I was recently in a conversation with some people about what were some of the most conservative things that the Arizona legislature and governors have done over the last 20 years. And she was involved in two of them. And I was involved in the other one. So I wanted to give her some kudos. And when I was president of the Senate and Janet Napolitano was the governor, I got Napolitano to sign a bill cutting Arizona's income tax rates from 7% to 4.9%.
State income.
That's a big deal.
Income tax rate, yeah. And then 20 years later, when Karen Fan was the Senate president and Doug Ducey was the governor, they cut it from 4.9 to 2.5%. So of the states that have an income tax, Arizona has the lowest flat income tax at 2.5. Now there's some states like Florida and Tennessee and Nevada and some others that don't have any income tax.
Right.
And I don't know where they make up, they probably make up their money on higher property taxes or something, but
tourists.
Well, yeah.
Florida gets their money from
tax.
tourists. Yeah.
Okay.
Texas property tax. Yeah. Florida gets their money from tourists because the state doesn't get any property tax. That all goes to the counties. But Florida itself, it's the sales tax basically that tourists will pay for, and they're trying to increase that from tourists and lower. They're going to anybody that has a homestead property, which is anybody 65 and over. They're trying to eliminate property taxes in Florida for them. So,
wow.
So
that's Arizona.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, a friend of mine bought a house in Houston, and it turned out his house note and his property taxes were about the same number.
Texas property taxes are sky high.
Yeah.
They don't have an income. Yeah, they don't have an income tax. They're one of the 9
right?
states that don't have an income tax.
Yeah.
And they have a big tax on natural resources, gas and oil and stuff like that, as you might imagine. But their property taxes in Texas are sky high.
Another interesting thing about Florida is DeSantis has what he calls a CEO for the state, and he goes around now he's going to each of the counties and he's doing a Doge audit on each of their books,
Oh,
and they're finding a lot of wasted money by
okay.
some of the counties, particularly the blue counties or the blue areas like Orlando and Tampa and Miami, and there's money that they've spent that is pretty. It's a lot of money. So they're selling their property tax thing by telling people, hey, these counties where they've grown 50%, more than 50% their budget in the last 5 or 10 years can cut their monies because they're spending too much money and they're wasting money. So that's the other effort that's going on to convince people that we can lower our property taxes, at least for some people. So, and the argument there is, you bought your house, you own your house. Why do you have to pay rent on it every year? Why do you have to pay property tax on it every year after you're 65 years old? You own your house, you own your property, but they're still charging you rent on your house, basically, right?
Do you remember the term real estate? Real
Yeah.
estate stands for the land of the king. That's Spanish for land of the king, and that's
Oh.
what.
Yeah, real.
Yeah.
Real means the
Monarchy.
monarchy. I never thought about that, Paul. Way to go.
Yeah. So-
Yeah.
Did you get that, audience?
In soccer, they have, Real Salt Lake and Real
Yeah.
Madrid and
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
real estate people belong to the land of the king, huh?
Yeah, well, they
And it
peddle
kind of is disappointing. I'd really like to see in Arizona so people could really own their land. And it's really bad in Pima County, and it might be statewide. If you owned uh, a lot of land, they're making it much, much harder to get agrarian status. That, if you want to get enough land together, if you own 40 or 80 acres, it's really hard to get a grazing lease. They make you have 1,000 acres or 2,000 acres. I don't know what exactly the number is, but it has gone up recently. And I don't know, again, if that's just in Pima County or statewide. But to really try to own property, especially land, and hold it is very foolish because, if you own vacant land and they tax it without having agrarian status, that you're going to just get killed over the long run. And it doesn't foster ownership of land. And for these old people or even younger people to have a house and know you could lose it to the state. So I'd really like to propose that you could somehow really own your land in perpetuity. So, not have ever the risk of being foreclosed on, and give the people an option. Look, maybe it's 50 grand, for a house or something. But for these people who have paid off their mortgage and then want to pay off the state, and if they're bad stewards of that, but should be some way in America for you to actually own your property. And right
That's
now,
what that's what Don's talking about, that DeSantis is trying to do in Florida, to
Yeah.
give people over
Yeah.
65
Right.
that exact mechanism where you don't have any more property tax after a certain level on a certain value of home.
Mhm.
yeah, and
You
if you've
probably
owned it long enough or can opt out,
Yeah.
I totally agree. It's
Yeah.
just terrible that that could be done. So
Did you
And-
guys
and-
see the big protest in England here this last week? Tractors downtown London and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
What
Yeah.
they're protesting is the Parliament came out with a rule that says if you die and your estate and you own farming property, the state gets half of the value of the property.
yeah,
And the examples they were saying is that if you have a piece of property that's valued at $1 million, then that means your heirs are going to have to come up with $500,000 in cash to keep the property, or else they're going to have to sell it. But what they were saying was the average farmer is only making $30,000 a year. And so there's no way to accumulate $500,000 and keep your property in the family. We had the same problem here in the States a while back with the death tax.
Right.
Sure.
And so
Yeah.
they did something about that. But it's just politicians love taxes. They love the income. It gives them
Sure.
the right. It gives them a pool of money to buy votes with. And
Interesting thing is we have a Bill of Rights and we have a Constitution, and of course, England, UK has parliamentary government, so
Right.
they don't have a Bill of Rights and they don't have a Constitution. So,
And it's showing.
yeah,
And
it's
it's
showing.
showing.
Yeah. I mean, they're losing.
It
They're
is.
canceling
It is.
elections. They're losing their freedom of speech. They're arresting people in their houses for putting something on negative about Muslims and on
It
some of
is.
the social
It is
media. It's
terrible.
terrible. Yeah, it
It
really is. Yeah, they're going to run themselves
really
into the ground. So,
yeah, I was
terrible.
telling Don just before you guys all showed up that I was listening to Harris Faulkner this morning, and she was talking about the radical Muslim terrorists that were killing Christians in Nigeria, and that the president's thinking about doing something about it. He hasn't said yet what. But I told my wife, I said, I'm gonna write Harris and tell her that term is wrong. These are not radical Muslim terrorists. They're Muslims. And their mandate from God is to kill anybody who isn't a Muslim. And so they're not radical, they're not terrorists, they're just good, happy Muslims. And we have a million of them, more than that, in this country, who are going to do the same thing when they get the opportunity. They're going to kill Christians. I'm not saying they're bad people. They're just following their own rules, right? And we just happen to be of the wrong religion.
I saw
So,
this week. They're busy in Europe this week. Several countries like Austria and Germany, especially, that have the German Christmas market, and Austria has the same similar thing. They've been busy defacing all their Christmas markets and their nativity scenes, et cetera, et cetera. So the Muslims have. So they got a real problem. It's going to show up. It's going to be more and more as we get closer to Christmas.
Yeah, we had though, Paul, it's a Muslim guy from Phoenix who is running for Congress now, come down to present to our group. And he did discuss a little bit about, the different sects within the Muslim faith. And of course, Saad Alawi, who's part of our group, is a Muslim from, I think he's from Iran, Paul. And and so it is something I need to be studying more because I do know some people who have studied the faith and and say, hey, if they're just being nice to you, that's because they have to until they gain power. But some of these guys I know, I don't think that's the case with. And I do think there is moderate sects, sects, sects that are in that faith, and maybe they do need to go through a reformation type thing. But I also understand, that if you read the Quran, and I haven't read the whole thing, but I have read part of it, and that how sequentially it's put together, and that later on, supersedes what was written before. So I think it's something that we as Americans do need to study more. But I do think that we have a problem because, we see that what's going on worldwide, that most of the terrorist issues going on right now, yeah, they are Muslims. And so somehow we've got to get a hold of what's going on there. And so Don, I wanted to rapid fire a couple things
Go
because
ahead.
I have enough rants to take 3 hours, but we don't have the time for that, and I've got to get off a little early. But speaking of the Muslim faith, Ilhan Omar, it's kind of like you kind of think about how God looks at us, and how, in the scriptures it said, he's not upset at anything except we don't recognize his hand in all things. And in that, we're given so much and yet we still complain, and he must look at us as slothful, ungrateful servants when he gives us so much and we still kick back. And I kind of look at that as Ilhan Omar coming to this country, her parents coming here and she being worth 20 or 30 million dollars now, and still maligning the United States and being very subversive to our founding principles, very ignorant of what the country was founded on, not understanding that we are the least racist country on earth, that we have a melting pot and accepting. And these things really get me fired up because, to show such ingratitude. And then when the Somali immigrants come in and show them the fraud, instead of coming forward and saying, we're going to get to the bottom of that, defends it and starts pointing fingers and insinuates people are racist by even bringing those things up. It's really disgusting. Okay. And, God must be patient with us because I'm sure he looks at us as ingrates also often and has a patient hand not to strike us down where we stand. And, I don't know why the Democrats put up with that because it doesn't help their side as far as I know, or I'm concerned, and why she isn't kicked out of the House. She should be. She is not an American as you define. Yes, she is a citizen. Okay, and this is another rant I could go on sometime because J.D. Vance, vice president, gave a talk July 4th to a conservative group in California and talked about, having to broaden or actually tightening the definition of American. And anyway, we don't have time to get into it right now, but I think you can be anywhere in the world and be an American. If you have the same ideals we do, I didn't say you were a citizen, but you are an American. If you believe liberty or death and the values in the Declaration and respect and understand the Constitution and why structure is important and why we want to defend that, that is an American. I'll fight alongside you any day of the week. Now, you may not be a citizen. We have many citizens that are not Americans. And Ilhan Omar is a citizen, but she is not an American as I define it. Not even close. And look, Senator Tim Kaine is not an American. If you are at that level and don't understand our unalienable rights come from God, you are not an American. So how can you be a Pittsburgh Steelers fan and hate the Pittsburgh Steelers or the foundation of what they believe in? You can't. So I totally object to that. He is a citizen, but he is not an American. And so J.D. Vance wanted to narrow the definition, and I disagree with that. I want to broaden it. You are welcome to be an American if you hold those truths to be self-evident and sacred. So I kind of wanted, so I got a bunch of those things right here. We can talk about Mom Donnie. It's either Mom Dami or Mom Donnie. I can never remember that.
I think it's an N. I think it's an N, but
the N's first. Mondami.
Okay. Mamdani.
Yeah.
Okay. Mom Donnie. There is, and I might have gone on a rant on this before, but I want to write an article on this, but you cannot take the oath of office and be a communist. Okay.
That's right.
You cannot faithfully take the oath of office to support and defend the Constitution and be a communist. It is totally incongruent. It's like saying you worship Satan and get baptized into the LDS or Catholic Church. Can't do it. It is totally the antithesis of one another. So I could go on in that. Affordability, and so I'm just going to jump from one thing to the other. So it is amazing to me that we are such idiots as a nation, that everybody's going around arguing about why are things so expensive? Okay, look, people, I'm an engineer, not an economist. But when you blow out spending and stop producing, what do you think's going to happen? Okay, houses I was building in 2019 for $400,000, because I built some houses, $400,000 to $420,000. now costs just to build almost 600. Now that is a 50, almost, it's like 40% really when you get down to it. It's 40 some percent when I do the 420 to 580 or something. More, that's more expensive. And why did that happen? I mean, it's because we stopped producing things. Okay. Nobody worked anymore and we blew out spending. So you're going to up the labor costs. You're going to blow out how much you spend for insulation and roofing materials. I can tell you, insulation went up by 50%. You know, all these things go up and they haven't gone down. So it is, but it's a character flaw. The reason things got more up is because we're cowards. Okay. And we don't have liberty over death. And we just kind of listened and cowered. And that is the results of what we have become. It is a symptom. So people going around, why are things so expensive? It's all our fault. It's our fault because we stopped producing. And look, we're 5 years later and we're wondering how this happened. We did it to ourselves.
Yeah.
You cannot lack character and think you're going to get the results. You can't expect to reap the harvest if you didn't plant it. So I wanted to talk about that. The Pete Hegseth thing, where they're trying to get him on hitting the boat twice, goes to show you how we need to wait for the Paul Harvey or rest of the story.
Yeah.
Look, when they first came out with that story, it did look very bad. Okay. But, you know, the more that comes out about what's going on.
Let's clarify that, Jeff. When they came out with a story from what they call them unidentified sources.
Right.
Right. I mean, this was a story that really had no basis. It just came out in the Washington Post with no proof at all.
It's sick.
Yeah.
It's sick.
Yeah.
That's undermining.
Sure.
And people ought to just come down and shame them. And I am somebody who believes in freedom of speech and not curtailing what they do. But when they're that wrong, you never let them forget.
Sure.
And the people who came out wrong on the Russia collusion, never let them forget.
Yeah.
I mean, because they are so terrible.
But Jeff, you got to remember that their bosses that are paying them, they don't care that they're wrong. They don't care that they're in error. They're paying them to be wrong so that they can spread the TDS further into the economy.
Right.
Go ahead,
but look, it wouldn't have been right. And I think it would have been a war crime had it gone down as they insinuated or reported. Mm-hmm. But that's not what happened.
Right.
At least from the new information I've received.
Yeah.
And so those things are very important. And then, you know, a lot of other topics. I think at some point we should have a discussion about Tucker Carlson and Turning Point and all that's going on there. But that's probably, you know, that's a whole hour discussion. But I also got really annoyed from the right on a question I saw from a conservative group. And the polling was, is Trump making America great again? Okay. And I wanted to reach through the phone and grab whoever asked that question by the throat. And it's like, look, if we are relying on one person to make America great again, you are an idiot. Okay? You're an idiot. That is not the way we as Americans work. Okay? Oh yeah, that is like, you know, he's not God, he is not Christ. Okay? Trump alone cannot make America great again. If we are not changing the hearts and minds and perspectives and values and priorities of the people back to our original, you know, and when I say original, we had it for years we valued liberty as our highest priority, that everybody understood that our rights came from God and not government, and that government was there to protect those rights instead of use emergency as the pretense for safety and all these other types of things. So the only thing that's going to make us great again is we as Americans step up and be great. You know, I mean, just go back and look, John Adams, you know, the Constitution was only made for a people that have character or morally high morality.
Sure.
It's not made for anyone else. One person can't do it. And that's what we don't get on the right. And so I get
Leadership.
very
You need,
angry at that.
yeah, you need the leadership,
So,
but everybody's got
yes.
to join in and help the leaders.
So
So
each
I
one
want
of
to,
those topics I could go on for an hour on. But
yeah, I
yeah, that was
understand.
my 6 rants in 7, 8 minutes.
So I'll comment on the Somali thing. I find it interesting that they've since I guess the amount of fraud has increased from 1 billion to around 8 billion now. And you guys know who instigated the investigation of all that, right? The IRS.
Huh.
The
I did
IRS,
not know that.
they are the chief investigators, and Scott Bassett is running the IRS. So they're tracking down now who is involved, where they sent the money. They know it was wired by some fraudulent groups, wired overseas to different places. So they're trying to figure all that out now. But yeah, I kind of look at that as if the IRS is on the trail, then something's probably going to come of it because they usually don't let go of that bone once they start chewing on it. So the other thing is, I heard a joke about the Minnesota Vikings. You hear they changed their name?
To this Somali.
Somali Pirates.
I love it.
I
I love it.
heard that just the other day. Ken, any comments?
Oh, I agree with Jeff. We could talk an hour on each one of those, but
Yeah.
I'm very concerned. You know, we continue to spend $7 trillion a year
Hmm.
as a federal government, and we're only bringing in five.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
and all of the um, things that just drew a blank on the word, the tariffs. All of the tariff money only adds up to about three or four
250
hundred
maybe? Yeah.
billion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not
There's
even
a
a third
reason
of it.
gold's at 4,300.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I continue to remain very concerned that even with the big beautiful bill and even with control of the House and the Senate and
Yeah.
the presidency, we continue to have a $2 trillion annual deficit
Yeah.
of we spend 2 trillion more than we bring in. And the only way the government can finance that is through inflation or printing more money. And when you print more money, when you print $2 trillion every year for the last 15 years,
Yeah.
you know why Jeff's exactly right. That's
Yeah.
why
And
prices have gone up, because you flooded um, the monetary system with money that's not backed by anything, and so prices go up.
Yeah,
and
unless we grow our way, the only other way to do it is grow our way out of it,
yeah.
you know? And there is hope you could do that. And I do think Trump is doing a great job at reducing regulation and spurring energy
Mhm.
and doing these things. But remember, and some of it is codified in the great big beautiful bill,
Yeah.
but
Which hasn't
unless
really
we,
taken effect yet.
Yeah, it
right.
doesn't take effect till January 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I do think there's stuff going on, but with the kudos from that, the
Yeah.
Republicans though have the thing that's going to kill the Republicans next year is what the Democrats are saying, affordability, which they caused most of it, but they didn't cause all of it. Look, even when Trump was in at the end of his presidency, we started blowing things out. Okay,
Mhm.
there was a lot money spent, so
COVID.
we yeah, because of the COVID thing. So we
Yeah.
we we started on a bad track there.
Yeah.
But so the affordability issue, but the second thing that's really going to hurt is the healthcare costs.
Hmm.
And I do agree we should not uh, you know, put extra shots of cortisone in a dog that's going to die anyway, which is
Yeah.
Obamacare.
That's right.
But what the Republicans are negligent in is coming up with a new plan to get that corrected. And so the problem is that is going to come back to bite them because I'll tell you right now, because I pay for my own health insurance and I have this year a plan that is not as good and I went from $1,400 a month to $2,400 a month.
Yowza.
Okay. In the plan, last year I had the gold Blue Cross Blue Shield. This year I have the silver. Okay, so it's not as good a plan, and I'm paying
Twice as much
$1,000 more
money.
a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
So that is significant.
I heard
And
the Senate came out with two plans today, or they're voting on some plans in the Senate today. I haven't heard the results. They presented
plans
some
for
new
what?
plans,
Redoing the whole thing?
new healthcare plans.
A healthcare thing.
Yeah.
Well,
But they won't have the 60 votes. And so what I've
Well,
heard is
they're-
the Democrats
Yeah.
have a plan and the Republicans have come up with a plan,
Mhm.
but neither one will pass because
Right.
neither one can get to 60. So they've
Good old
got
filibuster.
they got to get rid of that filibuster for
yes.
things that need to be done for the benefit of the country.
Yes.
And we've got to get back to regular order in the budget process. We got to stop the CR. I mean, the CRs. I think the last CR that goes out to January 31st, the last one they voted on, is the 53rd CR in a row,
Huh.
which covers.
Do we know when the last time
Over
they passed
5
the
years.
budget? Yeah.
Well, I remember they were when I was still working for Raytheon, they were talking about CRs, right? And how our budget, the federal budget was affecting our contracts at that time. So it's been, but regular order CRs has been at least 53 in a row, counting this last one. So it's been going on for more than 5 years, easily. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they have to go back to regular order, which I think honestly, I think Speaker Johnson is trying to get there, but whether they can get that done before January 31st is going to be the challenge, right? Because you have that Senate elephant, and I mean elephant hanging over your head, right?
Yeah,
So-
and then you got the Democrats who don't want anything good to come out of this administration.
oh
Yeah,
They will
exactly.
fight it tooth and nail.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how badly they hurt the people. I mean, look at
Yeah,
this,
they
the
don't care.
Schumer shutdown.
Yeah, they don't care.
They took 42 million people and took their food bowls away from them just to piss off the president and to tell the world how bad Trump was. These people have no morals. They have no guts. They have no civic
But
responsibility.
Paul,
no
and
integrity.
I agree 100%, but the Republicans could have ended it in a day by
Yeah,
getting rid of the filibuster.
right. We have to get Thune to figure that out because he's
I don't know how that's going to happen.
we have to somehow get that through to Thune. So that's
And
going
the
to be the
point
challenge.
is, you hear again, people are going to say, hey, we're going to regret it when they come back in power and these kind of things. But look, man, we are in a state of we need to get the government working again, and we've got to make the legislative branch relevant again.
Yeah,
to
there's nothing
balance.
but there's really nothing to regret, Jeff, because they're going to get rid of it anyway, whether we do it
No,
or not.
exactly. Well, that's my
Yeah.
point.
So there's
Unless
no
you
regret.
pass an amendment to the Constitution,
Right.
it is beyond foolish not to do it.
Yeah.
Beyond
Yeah.
foolish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've talked about that before. So yeah, exactly.
Well, guys,
yeah.
I got to run, but I'm sorry to but I wanted to dump those 6 different things I'm
Yes.
passionate about right now.
6
And they're
Dump on
grenades.
us. Dump on
6
us and run, huh?
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
That's the first time anybody's thrown 6 grenades in the room and run.
Yes, that's right.
Usually
Hey,
it's only
appreciate-
one, right?
Appreciate
Have a
you
good
guys.
day, Jeff.
Okay.
Take
Hope
care.
to see you next week, Jeff.
Yes, sir.
All right. You take care.
Take care.
So there you go, guys. We had Jeff went down the road. I had a lot of notes here written down, but he pretty well went through a lot of them. So anything you guys like to comment on? Let's see. What did I want to say? Oh, I listened to. I don't know if you got a chance to listen to that Victor David Hansen video I sent out this morning.
Just
Did
about
you listen
10
to it,
minutes.
Ken?
ago.
Good. Did you hear him talk about his idea to have for the White House to put together a quick reaction team? It's pretty
I thought the
interesting.
president- I thought
Yeah,
the president
he-
was already doing that.
Well, he does it himself in Truth Social, right? Because he came out with a really good True Social this morning about, he was talking about, well, he wants everybody to understand that he inherited Biden's economy and the inflation, right? And they're working to get that down, et cetera, et cetera. But Victor David Hanson came up with an idea about this quick reaction team. And I think that Stephen Miller would be the perfect guy to lead that because he could be the spokesman for it. But he says they ought to talk about the economy every day and what's changed, what's happening, numbers, whatever you got to do. They ought to talk about immigration every day. And he says they ought to tell us every morning, release the numbers, how many they've deported, how many have self-deported, how much money they're saving the American people by not funding these people in the country with them being gone. Just keep throwing that stuff out there every day. And there were other things too. And I thought that was a really good idea. Now, yeah, I think you're right, Ken. I think he's doing that personally himself in the morning, and I think Caroline Leavitt's trying to do that in her press briefings. But you're battling the mainstream media, so as much as you can get out there, the better you are, right? So, yeah.
So it's an uphill battle when you got the press against you.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. Well, the good news is we have a lot of social media outlets, new ones, and we have in YouTube, a lot of good, a lot of bad information on YouTube. I look at Rumble as some pretty good information, some pretty good people on there. And listen, I want to ask you guys about the raids in West Tucson. Have there been any raids that you know of, Ken or Paul, in the Phoenix area, ICE raids that anybody's talked about?
I haven't heard anything
nothing?
on the news about raids in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Of course, there was the raid here in
Yeah.
Tucson.
I heard that in West Tucson, and I found it interesting that the mayor, Regina, is it still?
Yes, it is still.
She went on and immediately defended her Tucson police for not helping ICE. They did a good job not helping ICE. That's sort of oxymoron, right? But then right away, the attorney for Pinal County went on, and he put out the news that they just signed a big new 287G agreement with ICE to support them in Pinal County. So you got these two counties side by side battling illegal immigration, that are completely polar opposites. So it's unbelievable contrast. So as far as I know, every sheriff in Florida is signed up, and most law enforcement signed up with 287G in Florida. So they're all on board and they're all doing their thing. And Alligator Alcatraz is pretty
Still
full,
functioning.
and they're shipping them out daily. So yeah.
Oh, that's something
Yeah.
I just read today. That the DHS has just bought 6 Boeing 737s specifically to move people out of the country.
There
So
you
they
go.
don't have to put them on charter flights. They don't have to worry about
Yeah.
schedules from the airlines and what's available and what's not. They're going to have their own fleet of get them out of the country as quickly as possible.
I
Of course,
keep using C-17s for training flights. I mean, the
well,
Air Force love to have training. So
that would be good too.
yeah.
But this will have. I mean, Alligator Alcatraz is on an airstrip. Boom, man.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
It'll be 6 airplanes, no waiting.
Yeah. That's the idea, right?
Yeah.
Daily flights, right? Get them out.
There you go.
Yeah.
See beautiful Nicaragua.
It's kind of interesting. They haven't had any raids in Phoenix area that anybody's heard about.
No, I haven't heard anything yet.
Yeah.
Well, what was the raid that Grijalva, the new Congresswoman Adelita Grijalva, said that she was sprayed? She was maced at a.
She was. She accused them of pepper spraying her.
Pepper spraying.
It was West Tucson. There were 4 different taco stands. Same name.
Taco Hero. Yeah.
Taco Hero in West Tucson. Yeah, which is pretty ugly area of Tucson anyway. Not as bad as South Tucson, but it's not good. But I'm sure they've got their numbers there. Yeah, she says, "Oh, they pepper sprayed me," but they have video that showed she wasn't pepper sprayed.
Yeah.
She might have got
a whiff of it, but she wasn't shot in the face. Because you can tell who's been shot in the face with that stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They're got stuff flowing out of their noses and their mouth. And
So, how do you guys feel about? Do you think it's time for Trump to enact the Insurrection Act? Past time? Wait. I'm for doing it now. I think these ICE agents have gone through enough that we need to put up some more barriers for them to do their jobs. What do you
well,
guys think?
I don't know. You see, my thought is, that's going to be such a fireball of contention. Once he does that, then the Democrats are going to be all over it. Look, the president's now becoming a dictator. He's bringing up the Insurrection Act, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
I think what we ought to do is just start enforcing the requirement. I mean, just this morning, Kristi Noem was giving a talk to one of the congressional councils, and these guys started protesting. And it's evidently a federal offense to make a protest during a committee hearing like that. And they hauled them off. Now, if they each get 15 years in jail and they start doing that at the ICE activities and putting people in jail for 6 months, a year, or whatever, it's going to stop that stuff. I mean, these people, it's not worth 6 months in jail to get $100 to be a paid protester, you know? And I just feel that it just needs to be done harshly. You take 20 ICE agents to the site, 10 go in and get bad guys, the other 10 arrest the protesters and put them in the paddy wagon and haul them off. You know, that was one of Grijalva's points. They were disappearing people. Yeah, it's about time.
Right. If you're here illegal in the country, you're going to disappear. So
That's right. Well, you don't disappear. You know, you're just taking a free plane ride back home or somebody else's home. Who knows?
yeah. What do you think, Ken? You think it's time for the Insurrection Act? You think you should wait?
No,
You think?
I think I agree with Paul that there's more to do short of declaring the Insurrection Act in force and giving them another hammer to smash the president with, that he's, acting as a dictator. I think you use the existing laws that you have and some mechanisms short of that. But
Okay,
I
good.
agree with Paul that if you arrest people under existing laws
Mhm.
and give them their due process, but they pay some pretty significant fines or time in jail, people are going to start thinking twice about disrupting legal operations of the federal government.
What if you go in and arrest the governors of these states? Governor of
I don't think that
Illinois, governor of Oregon, the governor of what's another state? Anybody else?
Arizona.
Arizona.
yeah,
Arizona,
yeah.
you haven't had a big problem in Arizona with the demonstrations, etc.
We haven't had that, but we've got a governor that just sits there and gnaws at our laws
Oh yeah, I know.
and doesn't pass, doesn't, she vetoes anything. I mean, she's vetoed laws that protect our own police officers. It's just a horrible,
Yeah.
horrible thing that the people elected her.
Yeah, true. So, well,
Well,
like
we've
Ken
got a
said,
chance to turn
right
that
to
around
wrong. Yeah,
in
that's right.
26. So,
You get your election integrity and get that straightened out, and yeah, you can get Andy Biggs elected. I guess you guys would be voting for Andy Biggs, wouldn't you?
I actually prefer Karen Taylor Robeson.
You want Karen Taylor Robeson? Well, that's good. I
Andy
mean,
would be a great governor. Andy
yeah,
would be a good governor. I think Robeson, a woman on a woman, gives us a better chance of winning that race. The
that's a
goal
good
is not,
idea.
my guy wins the primary. The goal is we elect somebody that can win the general, and I think
Yeah.
Robeson gives us the best chance of that.
Do you know what happened to Matt Salmon? What he's doing now?
I just talked to Matt a couple days ago, last
Yeah.
week. Ran into him and his wife. They were at a election integrity thing down in Maricopa County. They were thinking of moving up here to Prescott, but their children and grandchildren in the Phoenix area started crying about how they were going to be 2 hours away and didn't want to have to drive to see him, and so they're staying put in Maricopa County and going to stay close to kids and grandkids.
Tell them, Ken, you know about a family that lived in Arizona that moved to Florida.
I tell you.
And I have family in Colorado, and Patty has family in Arizona. So they got to
Yeah.
drive 4 days to see.
Well, that's why I'm in Green Valley.
Is that bad or is that good, right?
Well, I think they convinced Matt's wife, Nancy,
Yeah.
that even
He
2
didn't want
hours
to do
away
that. Was too
was going to
far.
be too far to be away from however many grandkids they have. So
Now, what's the latest on Schweikert? Is he still running,
he
or
was
is
up
that all
here.
died
He
up?
was up here in Prescott 2 days on Monday, speaking to the Yavapai Republican Men's Forum. I wasn't able to attend, but
Mm,
he was.
still in the. She's still in it,
Yeah,
huh? Yeah.
he's in
Wow.
it. Oh, for sure.
I just can't
I don't.
believe that. Can't figure that one out. Yeah. He's really a good guy to have in
He's
Congress with his ability
he's a
to
very
handle
good
the
guy.
numbers. Yeah. And the budget and everything. He's a key guy with all that stuff. So I don't know who else up there can do it, but he puts out these newsletters that just unbelievable newsletters with all
Really.
his with
No,
the
I'm a big fan of Schweikert.
yeah.
I'm a fan of Biggs. Um, but I think Karen Robeson gives us the best shot of um,
Yeah.
putting a Republican in the governor's office.
Well, I guess you're going to find out in the primary. So what do you think Andy would do if he didn't win?
Oh,
Any idea?
no.
Would he officially have to leave Congress or would he stay in
Oh,
Congress?
no, he's Congress comes up next year too. So he can't be running for Congress and Arizona governor at the same time.
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
he is vacating his seat.
Okay.
The front runner now has become Mark Lamb. Um, Travis Grantham was in that race, and I really like Travis Grantham, but I'm a big Mark Lamb fan as well. And there's others in that race. In fact, I got a call this morning from one of the minor candidates. I can't even think of his name, Daniel Keenan or something. But I think Mark Lamb is now the clear favorite in Congressional District 5, I think is Biggs's district.
Yeah.
And so, no, he'll find something else. He financially, he's very well off. He won the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes 25 years ago.
Really?
$10 million. Yeah. So
Yeah.
they showed up on his front porch and gave him a
Wow.
check for $10 million. So,
Goodness sake. No kidding. Yeah, they went,
yeah,
they've gone bankrupt. They've closed up.
have they?
Yeah, they don't do it anymore. So how about a blast from the past with how about Paul Babu? Have you heard anything about Paul? What he's doing?
No.
I know they sullied him enough that I think they trashed him enough that he's probably not ever going to get in politics again. But
Yeah, I would doubt that.
yeah, well,
Uh,
it's good.
Ken,
Go ahead.
real quick, do you know anything about a Jerome Davison? He's
No.
running for our
Jer-
CD4.
Jerome Davidson. Is he a
Davis,
candidate
yeah.
for something or what?
Yeah, CD4 seat.
Oh, CD4.
Yeah. Anyway, I just got a solicitation from him, and
Is that your district? Is that your district, Paul?
No, I'm in 7, I think.
Okay.
I can look on my card and see.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, he's ex NFL, and anyway, it has an interesting background. It seems to be pretty sincere. He's military, and I just wondered if you'd heard of him.
How
or
about
knew anything
how about the guy that was a kicker for the Arizona Cardinals that was going to run?
He's running. Jay
Oh, he
Feely.
is running. Jay Feely.
He's running in the district to replace Biggs. And
running against Lamb.
most people thought it was going to be a real horse race between Jay Feely and Travis Grantham, who was in the state House of Representatives, and they thought it was going to be a horse race between those two. And then Mark Lamb jumped in, and Trump endorsed Lamb, and he's, I think, going to win that pretty easily. In fact, I think Trump even said in public somewhere that he likes Feely. He wishes Feely would, find something else to run for because Trump's now endorsed Lamb. In that race. So yeah, Feely's still in for now, but I don't think he has much of a shot.
Okay.
unless Lamb does something that really, stumbles somehow.
Okay, guys, I'll let you both go. Have a pleasant week. Hope you're having a good holiday season. Are you busy going to Christmas parties
Well,
and
we did the courthouse lighting up here in Prescott last
Oh
Saturday,
yeah, good. Good. Yeah, we
and I
lighted we have lightings at all the town squares here in the villages. So yeah, that's all done here. Yeah,
but
good.
our claim to fame in Prescott is that we read the Christmas story on the court steps of the courthouse right out of the book of Luke.
Oh,
And so
good job.
I did that for the 35th year.
Good for
I've
you.
been doing that for 35 years.
Wow.
And
And you're only 45.
I wish.
Good job,
Well,
Ken. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
You must be doing a good job if they want you to do it every year, huh?
Well, the reason is I kind of saved it 35 years ago. There was a group of atheists in Prescott that tried to shut down the courthouse lighting. And they filed lawsuits and they challenged this. I mean, they sued me personally a couple times, but I was on the Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, and the chamber director, she came to me and said, Ken, I want you to save the courthouse lighting and the reading of the Christmas story on the steps. So I had some public meetings the next year and invited the atheists to come and tell us what was the problem. Well, it's only Christian. So the next year I added some Jewish songs and a reading, and then the next year they came and said, well, it's only religious. And then so the next year I added some peace on earth stuff. And then the next year they came and they realized that everything that they objected to, I was going to fix. I was going to fix somehow, and they realized I wasn't going to let the courthouse lighting die. So they kind of stopped it, and I think because of that, they invite me to read the story every year for the last 35 years.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we'll see you next week, God willing, and the
Alrighty.
creek don't rise, right?
Okay.
You bet.
And thanks
Sounds
everybody for joining us. God bless America, and God bless you guys and helping out on this show. I appreciate it very much, and we'll see you next week.
All right.
Take care.
Good night.
If you want to change the world, start off by making your bed. If you make your bed every morning, you will have accomplished the first task of the day. It will give you a small sense of pride, and it will encourage you to do another task, and another, and another. And by the end of the day, that one task completed will have turned into many tasks completed. Making your bed will also reinforce the fact that the little things in life matter. If you can't do the little things right, you'll never be able to do the big things right. And if by chance you have a miserable day, you will come home to a bed that is made, that you made. And a made bed gives you encouragement that tomorrow will be better.